Hey everybody, Jane here, and today I want to review a video game I recently finished playing with my boyfriend, and that game is It Takes Two. This is an interesting game. So there is a husband and a wife, and they are getting a divorce, or they've decided they're getting a divorce, and they tell their daughter, getting a divorce, we're sorry, this sucks, but we just can't live together anymore. And then, by magic, they are turned into dolls and they have to go on this adventure to get their bodies back. So that is the plot of this game. It is a two-player game. It has to be played in two-player, but you can play either couch co-op, which we did, or like online with other people who aren't in your house. And it was definitely an interesting game. I didn't love it, but I definitely thought it had some interesting merit to it. So let's start with the rating I gave it, and then we can talk about kind of what I loved and what I didn't. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. For me, that is a very average game. And for me, this would probably be like closer to a 2.5. But my boyfriend and I had some long discussions about it, and he's like, this game is an indie game. It came out and it wasn't buggy. It's reasonable price point. You just look at video games a little bit differently than you look at books, which is what I primarily review. I review a lot of books and movies, and I think this is maybe my first time reviewing a video game. So I will say, like, the things that I was looking for and the things that maybe for me are important weren't as important for him. He would have probably rated it like a 4 out of 5. So know that going into this already, some diverse ideas from our own household. So some of the stuff I loved. There is beautiful music, beautiful visuals. It is just stunning to look at. I really enjoyed watching the game as I played it. And after we played it, we went back and watched other people on Twitch play it. And it's even nicer to watch in many ways than to play, because when you're playing, you're so focused on the puzzles that you have to solve along the way, and you don't get to really indulge in the beautiful music and the beautiful setting. So setting and music spot on. The characters I didn't like, and that was one of my big problems throughout the game, is the characters are kind of rude to each other and insulting each other a little bit, and you're trying to root for these characters and you want them to get back together. You want them to decide that their divorce is a bad idea. You understand that that's what this journey is about, is bringing them back together. And I just didn't necessarily feel like I wanted these characters to get back together. I didn't like them. I didn't like the things that they did and that they said and some of the choices they made. And in your plot, as you move along, sometimes you have to do some really awful stuff. And there was one scene where we had to do something, and I was just like, I don't think my character is redeemable after making this decision to do this. After my character was like, hey, we're doing this, I was like, I just don't think I can. I don't like it. I can barely do, can't make my character do this. And then when I did make her do it, I'm like, yeah, I don't think these characters are redeemable. So for me, that was a real problem. Because when I play a video game, I like to feel connected to the character I'm playing and to the other characters. And, the whole plot of this game is that you're trying to get these two characters back together. I didn't want them back together. I didn't care if they ever got back together. So that was frustrating. Plot-wise, I had some mixed feelings about that. So some of the levels make absolute sense. You are going through the tool shed, you're going through a tree in the yard, you're going through some stuff underground the house and out in the garden. Those all in the bedroom, some of the levels make really good sense. Then you have some really out there levels, and I was just like, this is really pretty and really cool, and the music is nice, but it didn't really fit in the tone of the video game, and it took away a little bit from what we're trying to do. It is a puzzle game, and there is some variety in the puzzles, but I definitely felt sometimes like it got repetitive a little bit, especially by the end. By the end of the game, I was more than done. Like, we were at probably the 3/4 mark, and I thought we were done, and I wanted to be done. And especially after that, that was kind of the levels that I felt didn't necessarily work. They were fun, they were pretty, they had nice music, they even in some cases had cool mechanics. I had some trouble with the one. The one was a flight level, and flying is not my thing in video games. It's not even a little. Right now we're playing No Man's Sky, and let me tell you, flying is hard and not something I'm good at. So I definitely, in the level that there was flying, had some trouble with my mechanics. But, oh, sorry, bump that. But even beyond it not feeling like it really, some of the levels not really feeling like it fit in, I felt like the game itself was very long, very drawn out, and especially when it's like we're trying to get these two characters back together. Some of the levels really felt like they fit that theme, and some of the levels really didn't feel like they fit that theme of let's get these characters back together and reunited and loving each other again. As I said, I felt like, ooh, all kinds of problems. I felt like the game had a lot of pacing issues, particularly the first two levels I loved. They were short, they were snappy, we had a good time with them. But then you get to this level that involves squirrels, and this level takes forever. It takes forever, and then from there on out, I felt like it was not a very even pacing of the game, and I started to feel frustrated and get bored. I did like the variety, because each level you get a special talent, if you will, or thing you have to do. And I did think that added to the replay value. We are not going to replay it, but if we did and we switched up the character, the boy has certain things and skills he gets each time, and the girl has certain skills and tools that she gets each time. So it would definitely be like playing a different game if you were in the other gendered role. So I did enjoy that we got these unique tools, that we got to play with them differently in each level, and that we got different tools. So I couldn't just go and do anything. Sometimes my partner had to go and do the thing because I didn't have the tool. I think in the first one, I had a hammer. The girl had the hammer, and so I had to hammer things, and my boyfriend had nails, and he could shoot nails. So I could like swing from the nails, and I could hammer things. So it was a lot of fun. But like I said, it got boring. It didn't get boring. It got tedious after a while. And I think that was my biggest frustration. I did end up feeling like the game itself was pretty tedious. And like I said, I felt like I couldn't root for these characters. They were annoying me a lot of the time. They were saying nasty things to each other. They were being rude. And I just didn't like it. Now, I will say there is a certain level of fun in the game that sometimes takes a little bit of a dark turn. At the end of the first scene, you fight a vacuum cleaner. And the demise of the vacuum cleaner, once you beat it, is kind of horrific. And there's other things and scenes later, one in particular involving an elephant, that it was rough. And it was like, it would have been funny if it weren't, like, some of it bordered on funny to horrible, if you will, especially the vacuum cleaner. The vacuum cleaner was funny to horrible, and the elephant thing was just horrible. So I think that was something else too, where I didn't always feel like they were hitting the emotional beats that they wanted to hit. Maybe that was what they wanted to hit, but it wasn't the beats I was going into this game to hit. I was wanting a nice, fun, two-player game. I liked the idea of the plot of these characters are trying to get the romance back in their relationship, even if maybe it wasn't working the way that they hoped it would. The ending I had a lot of issues with for the story. I didn't feel like it was necessarily the right or appropriate ending for the story that we were living. I didn't feel like the plot in a lot of ways got us where we needed to go. I did, on the other hand, feel very much like I understood the conflicts the characters were having, because the one parent, the dad, is a stay-at-home parent, and the mom is a working mom. And the dad is frustrated because mom's never home, and the mom is frustrated because she's got all this work that she has to do, and she feels like he's not necessarily handling his business. And in our household, we have a similar dynamic, not with the issues, but like, I'm the working parent and my partner stays home with the kids. And so some of the stuff I really could relate to with the issues of like, okay, you know, the one partner feeling like all you do is work, you're never home, you don't know what's going on with the kids, because I'm the one handling the kids all the time. And I really felt that when the kids were little. Like, I didn't know whose favorite stuffed animal was what, and he always knew. He's like, no, that's the wrong stuffed animal. Or he's naming a stuffed animal, I'm like, I don't know what stuffed animal this is. So I could relate to the characters, I just didn't always like them. I will say one thing I really loved about this game was they didn't stick to gender roles for a lot of things. So like the wife, she is an engineer, and she also likes to build things. That's one of the first scenes we go through, and she is into construction. And so we really get to see that, and that's a more traditional male role. But I want to build stuff, I want to work out in my tool shed. You know, it's her tools. On the other hand, we see him being a gardener. And I think that is typically something that is seen as more of a female role. That he has this garden and he likes to grow things. And for me, my dad is into gardening, so I don't consider that like a feminine role, but I know other people sometimes would see that as more feminine than masculine. So I love that, and I loved, again, that he's the stay-at-home parent. So I loved some of the gender role stuff and the breaking gender roles. That was good. So, and I will add, like my boyfriend said, it is reasonably priced, especially because it is a super long game. Super long game. I don't think there's a lot of replay value. You could, if you really enjoyed it, switch characters and play a second time through. And maybe that would be, you know, replayability. So depending on if that's something that you want to do. There were no bugs that we really ran into. There was a couple times we thought we did, but we just were having trouble solving the puzzle. And, you know, like I said, overall, it was fine. There were a lot of things I didn't like, but a lot of things that were well done. And a lot of the things I didn't like were more things I see as an author. You know, the plot, the characters. Whereas from a gaming standpoint, there's a lot of cool puzzles. I found some of them a bit repetitive, but my boyfriend did not. There's a lot of variety. Each level you have new tools and new things that you're trying to master. That was cool. Beautiful setting, beautiful music. So if you enjoy video games, and especially playing co-op, this is a good... Oh, and one other thing I will say, it is very, very lenient to people who are not skilled gamers. So I love to game, but a lot of the games I play are things like The Sims and My Time at Portia, and games that are not heavy on mechanics. And this game, It Takes Two, was very friendly for low mechanic people. So I did appreciate that. It was definitely something that you could play with somebody who maybe is at a different skill level than you, and it wouldn't be a huge problem. And I do think that that's a good thing, because I think that sometimes when you have two-player games, and like especially things that you might want to play with your partner, if it's heavy mechanics and you're not both really good gamers playing the heavy mechanics games, that can cause some frustration and conflict. I know some of the things that we've played before are a little bit more mechanic, and I just can't do them because I am not a very mechanical gamer. Like when it's fighting games, I suck because I just button combos are hard. But I love things where we're exploring and doing and puzzles. So this was a really good team game, and you could have people at different skill levels play. So I think I'm going to wrap that up. That is what I have to say about It Takes Two. If you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, please tell me your thoughts on it. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel and you would like to, please do so. I typically review books and movies. I'm going to be doing some more games in the future, but I don't play a large variety of games, so it's probably something I'll do on occasion. If you're here for game reviews, this is not your channel. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. This has been Jane. Oh, my social media is below, including a link to several books I've written. Thank you and have a good day.